A single dad saw armed men grabbing his daughter's best friend outside school. He didn't think twice. He ran straight toward the guns and took 2 bullets, protecting the little girl. Everyone called him a hero. But what happened 3 months later left the entire world speechless and crying. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Those were the last words I heard before the gunshot echoed through the school parking lot. As a single dad and security guard at Lincoln Elementary, I'd seen many things. But nothing prepared me for what happened that cold November afternoon. My name is James Walker. I'm 35 years old, and I raise my 6-year-old daughter Sophie alone. Her mother, my beautiful wife Rachel, died 3 years ago from cancer. I still remember holding Rachel's hand as she took her last breath, begging me to take care of our little girl. After Rachel died, my world became small. Just me, Sophie, and trying to survive each day. I worked as a security guard at the elementary school where Sophie studied. The pay wasn't much, but it meant I could see my daughter during the day. The first year without Rachel was the hardest. I didn't know how to braid hair. I burned dinners. I forgot to sign permission slips. I cried in the shower where Sophie couldn't hear me. Some nights, after putting her to bed, would sit in our empty bedroom and wonder how I was supposed to do this alone. But I learned. I watched YouTube videos on braiding. I meal prepped on Sundays. I set phone reminders for everything. I joined a single-parent support group at church, where other widows and widowers taught me that survival was possible, that the pain would lessen, that life could still have joy. Every morning, I woke Sophie at 6. I made her breakfast, braided her hair, and packed her lunch with a little note inside. "Daddy loves you," I would write. Sophie never complained. She never asked why other kids had moms at school events. She just held my hand tighter and said, "You're the best daddy in the world." But I knew I wasn't enough. I saw how she looked at her friends' mothers. I saw the loneliness in her eyes on Mother's Day. I saw how she kept Rachel's photo by her bed and whispered, "Good night, Mommy," every night before sleeping. That November day started like any other. At lunch, I watched Sophie eat with her best friend, a sweet 7-year-old girl named Maya. Maya was the daughter of Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a brilliant scientist who worked at the research center downtown. Dr. Rodriguez was also a single parent. Her husband had died in a car accident 2 years ago. Sometimes, during pickup, Elena and I would talk. Brief conversations about weather, homework, how fast kids grow. Nothing deep. Just 2 tired parents trying to survive. One day, about a month before the shooting, Elena and I had coffee together while the girls played at the park. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. "Are you okay?" I asked gently. Elena hesitated. "I'm working on something important. A cure for a disease that kills children. But there are people who want to stop me. Bad people who care more about money than lives. Are you in danger?" I asked, concerned. "I don't know," she admitted. "Maybe I'm just being paranoid. But James, if anything ever happens to me, please watch out for Maya. She doesn't have anyone else." I should have taken her more seriously. I should have asked more questions. But I just nodded and said, "Of course. But nothing's going to happen to you." I was wrong. But I noticed things about Elena. How her hands shook when she picked up Maya. How she constantly looked over her shoulder. Something was wrong. That afternoon, the school bell rang at 3 o'clock. Sophie came out holding Maya's hand. They were giggling, their backpacks bouncing as they skipped toward the parking lot. I was standing near the gate when I saw them. 3 men in black suits. They weren't parents. They weren't teachers. And they definitely weren't supposed to be there. My military instincts kicked in. I served in the army for 4 years before Sophie was born. I knew danger when I saw it. These men were watching Dr. Elena Rodriguez's parking spot. My heart started pounding. Before I could react, Elena's car pulled up. The three men started moving toward Maya. I started running. One of the men grabbed Maya, lifting her off the ground. The little girl screamed, "Mommy! Help me!" Elena jumped out of her car. "Let her go. Please. Don't hurt my baby." The man holding Maya pulled out a gun. He pointed it at Elena. "Stop right there, doctor. Come with us quietly, or your daughter dies." I didn't think. I just moved. I ran toward the man holding Maya. "Let her go," I shouted. The man turned, surprised. "Stay back, or I'll shoot." "You'll have to shoot me first," I said, putting myself between him and the girls. He fired. The first bullet hit my shoulder. Pain exploded through my body like fire. But I didn't stop. I grabbed Maya from his arms and pushed her toward Sophie. "Run! Both of you, run to the school!" I screamed. The second man fired. This bullet grazed my chest, tearing through skin and muscle. I fell to my knees, but I stayed between the men and the girls. Blood poured from my wounds. The world started spinning. But I could see Sophie and Maya running toward the school building. They were safe. Other parents started screaming. Someone was calling 911. The three men realized they had failed and ran to their car, speeding away. Elena ran to me. She pressed her hands on my wounds, trying to stop the bleeding. "Stay with me, James. Help is coming. Please don't die." I looked at the school doors where Sophie and Maya had disappeared. "The girls, are they safe?" "Yes, because of you," Elena cried. "You saved my daughter. Tell Sophie." I whispered, my vision fading. "Tell her Daddy loves her." Then everything went black. I woke up 4 days later in a hospital bed. The first thing I saw was Sophie's face. She was asleep in a chair next to me, holding my hand. "Sophie," I whispered. Her eyes opened. Then she started crying. "Daddy! You're awake. I thought you were going to die." I tried to sit up, but pain shot through my body. "I'm okay, baby. I'm here." Sophie climbed onto the bed carefully, hugging me gently. "The doctors said you were very hurt. You got shot 2 times saving Maya. You're a hero, Daddy." The door opened. Elena walked in with Maya. The little girl was holding a handmade card with a drawing of a superhero. "This is for you, Mr. James," Maya said shyly. "Thank you for saving me." Elena sat down, her face serious. "James, we need to talk. Those men who attacked us, they weren't random kidnappers." Over the next hour, Elena told me everything. Elena was a scientist working on a cure for a deadly disease called Ashford syndrome. It attacked children's brains and nervous systems. Children diagnosed with it rarely lived past their 12th birthday. There was no treatment, no hope. But Elena had found something. After 5 years of research, she had created a cure. The clinical trials were showing incredible results. Children who were dying were recovering. That's when Kratos Pharmaceuticals approached her. They wanted to buy her research. They offered her $50 million. But they wanted to control the cure. They wanted to make it expensive, available only to wealthy families. Elena refused. She wanted her cure to be free, available to every child who needed it. Kratos Pharmaceuticals didn't accept her answer. They threatened her. They tried to sabotage her lab. When all of that failed, they decided to kidnap Maya. They were going to hold her hostage, Elena said, her voice breaking. They were going to force me to choose between my daughter's life and my research. And I would have chosen Maya. All of those sick children would have died. I felt rage building in my chest. These people tried to kidnap a child in front of a school. They shot me. They're willing to let thousands of children die just for money. Yes, Elena whispered. And they'll try again. I went to the police, but nothing happened. Kratos has connections everywhere. I don't know who to trust. She started crying. James, I'm so sorry. You almost died because of my research. Sophie almost lost her father. I should have quit months ago. I should have given Kratos what they wanted. No, I said firmly. Don't you dare apologize for trying to save children's lives. Those men made their choice. You made yours. And I made mine. I'd make the same choice again. But Sophie. Sophie is fine because Maya is fine, I interrupted. If I had let them take Maya, I would have had to tell Sophie that I stood by and did nothing while her best friend was kidnapped. What kind of lesson would that teach her? That we only protect people when it's convenient. That we look away when things get dangerous. Elena wiped her tears. You're a good man, James Walker. I'm just a dad trying to do the right thing, I said. What about the FBI? I contacted them after the shooting, Elena said. They're opening an investigation. But they said it could take months. I thought for a moment. You and Maya are going to stay with me and Sophie. My house isn't fancy, but it's secure. And I have friends from the army. We'll protect you until the FBI can handle Kratos. James, I can't ask you to do that, Elena protested. You already took 2 bullets because of us. You're not asking. I'm offering. I looked at Maya and Sophie, who were holding hands. Those men will come back. But if you're with me, I can protect you both. Elena looked at her daughter. Okay, she finally said. We'll stay with you. 2 weeks later, I was released from the hospital. Elena and Maya moved into my small house. It was tight, but it felt right. The girls shared Sophie's room, staying up late giggling and telling stories. I called my army buddies. Marcus, Jake, and Tony. 3 good men who had saved my life overseas. I need help protecting a scientist and her daughter, I told them. We're in, they said without hesitation. They set up a security system around my house. Cameras, motion sensors, a safe room in the basement. They took turns keeping watch. But there was a problem. Elena couldn't finish her research from my house. She needed a laboratory. We'll make a lab in the basement, I said. Over the next 3 weeks, we transformed my basement into a working laboratory. Elena worked day and night, barely sleeping. Sophie and Maya helped by bringing her food and organizing notes. You're wonderful assistants, Elena told the girls one evening. We want to help sick kids get better, Maya said. Like my mommy helped people, Sophie added. She was a nurse before she got sick. Elena's eyes filled with tears. She knelt down and hugged both girls. Your mommy was amazing, Sophie. She would be so proud of you. I watched from the doorway, my heart full. In the weeks since Elena and Maya moved in, something had changed. The house felt alive again. There was laughter during dinner. Someone to talk to after the girls went to bed. Elena and I grew closer. We cooked dinner together. We watched movies after the girls fell asleep. We talked about our dead spouses, our fears, our hopes. I found myself falling in love with her, which terrified me. I felt guilty, like I was betraying Rachel's memory. One night, I couldn't sleep. I went to the living room where I kept Rachel's photo on the mantel. I don't know what to do, I whispered to the picture. I'm falling for someone else. Does that make me a terrible husband? Am I forgetting you? The photo didn't answer, of course. But in the silence, I remembered something Rachel had said to me during her last days in the hospital. James, she had whispered, her voice weak. Promise me something. After I'm gone, don't close your heart. Sophie needs more than just survival. She needs joy. She needs laughter. She needs to see what love looks like. If you find someone who makes you happy, who loves Sophie, don't push them away because of me. I want you to live, not just exist. I had promised her then, though I never believed I could love anyone else. But now, watching Elena work in the basement while humming softly, seeing how gentle she was with Sophie, feeling my heart race when our hands touched, I realized Rachel had been right. Do you think Rachel would mind? I asked Elena one night. That I'm starting to have feelings for someone else. Elena was quiet for a moment. When my husband died, I thought I could never love anyone again. But then I realized, loving again doesn't mean forgetting. It means our hearts are big enough for both memories and new beginnings. On the fourth week, everything changed. Tony called me at 2 a.m. We have movement. 5 armed men approaching from the north side. I jumped out of bed. Everyone to the basement. Now. Elena grabbed the girls, taking them downstairs to the safe room. Sophie was crying, scared. Maya was silent, her face pale. I knelt down in front of them. Listen to me. I promise to protect you both, and I keep my promises. Stay here with Elena. Don't come out until I come get you. Daddy, please don't go, Sophie begged. Please don't leave me like Mommy did. My heart broke. I'm not leaving you, baby. I'm protecting you. I'll come back. I promise. I locked them in the safe room and went upstairs. The attack was brutal. Gunfire shattered the quiet night. My friends fought like warriors. One attacker made it to the basement door. I intercepted him. Move aside, he said, pointing his gun at me. We just want the woman and kid. They're my family, I said calmly. I would die 1,000 times for them. He fired. I dove sideways. We fought. He was younger, faster. But I had something he didn't. Love. I won. Outside, the last attackers retreated. Marcus had wounded 2 of them. Jake had disabled their vehicle. Tony had recorded everything. I opened the basement door. We're clear. Sophie and Maya ran out, throwing themselves at me. Elena followed, checking me for wounds. You could have died, she cried. But I didn't, I said, holding the girls. Because I had something to live for. The FBI arrived within the hour. They arrested the 2 wounded attackers. With their testimony and Elena's evidence, they could finally move against Kratos. It's over, the lead agent told us. We have enough to prosecute. You're safe now. Elena collapsed crying with relief. Really? It's really over. Yes, ma'am. Over the next 8 weeks, Elena finished her cure. She worked 18 hours a day, exhausted but determined. One evening, I found Elena staring at a vial of clear liquid. Her hands were shaking. Is that it? I asked quietly. Yes, she whispered. After 5 years, it's finally done. 2 days later, Elena held a press conference. Major news networks covered it. Hundreds of journalists attended. Elena stood at the podium, with me beside her. My name is Dr. Elena Rodriguez, she began. For 5 years, I have been developing a cure for Ashford syndrome. Today, I am announcing that the cure is complete. Clinical trials show a 97% success rate. The room erupted in applause. Elena raised her hand for quiet. But this almost didn't happen. 3 months ago, Kratos Pharmaceuticals tried to kidnap my daughter to force me to give them control of my research. They wanted to make this cure expensive, available only to the wealthy. Gasps filled the room. But they failed, Elena continued. They failed because of this man. She turned to me. This is James Walker. He's a security guard at my daughter's school. When those men tried to kidnap my daughter, James didn't hesitate. He threw himself in front of the bullets. He took 2 shots protecting a child who wasn't even his. The room went silent. Because of James's courage, Elena said, tears streaming, I was able to finish my research. Because he gave me a safe place to work, I created this cure. And because he showed me that good people still exist, I remembered why I started this, to save children. All children. She held up the vial. This cure is free. I am not patenting it. I am giving it to the world. Every child with Ashford syndrome will have access to treatment. No one profits from children's suffering. The room exploded. People were cheering, crying, hugging. But I was watching Sophie and Maya in the front row, holding hands, smiling. That's when I knew. This wasn't about the cure or fame. It was about family. About love. About ordinary people doing extraordinary things. 3 days after the press conference, Elena received a thick envelope. Inside were letters. Hundreds of them. From parents whose children had Ashford syndrome. We read them together at the kitchen table. Dear Dr. Rodriguez, our daughter Hannah was diagnosed when she was 6. The doctors said she had 2 years to live. Then we saw your press conference. Hannah is in the trial program now. She's responding to treatment. We're going to see her grow up. Thank you. Elena was crying. I kept reading. Dr. Rodriguez, our son Michael was dying. We sold everything trying to pay for treatments that didn't work. Then your cure was announced. Michael is healthy now. He's playing soccer again. You gave us hope. Letter after letter. Story after story. There are over 400 letters here, Elena said softly. 400 children who were dying. And now they're going to live. Because of you, I said. Because of us, Elena corrected. If those men had succeeded in taking Maya, I would have stopped everything. All of these children would have died. You didn't just save one little girl. You saved hundreds. But that wasn't what stunned everyone. 2 weeks later, Elena made an announcement that shocked the world. She was donating every patent, every piece of research to a new foundation dedicated to finding cures for rare diseases that pharmaceutical companies ignored. I almost lost everything to corporate greed, Elena told reporters. I won't let that happen to other scientists, other children. The world was amazed. Here was a woman who could have been a billionaire, giving it all away. But that still wasn't what stunned everyone most. 6 months later, Elena and I were at the children's hospital, visiting kids receiving treatment. We walked through the ward, seeing children who had been dying now laughing and playing. A little boy named Tyler ran up to us. He was 7 years old. Dr. Elena. Mr. James. Tyler shouted, hugging us. Look. I can run again. I'm getting better. His mother was crying. 6 months ago, we had picked out his casket. Now he's talking about what he wants to be when he grows up. You gave us our son back. Then we reached a special room. Inside were 15 children, all very sick. These children are too far advanced, a doctor explained. The cure works best in early stages. We're not sure if anything can help them. Elena knelt next to a little girl named Sarah. She was 9 years old, barely conscious. Is there anything you can do? Sarah's mother begged. Please. Elena looked at me. I saw determination in her eyes. I'll try, Elena promised. Over the next 3 months, Elena developed a modified version of her cure. She worked with these 15 children, refusing to give up. 13 of them recovered. 13 children who were beyond hope came back to life. The 2 who didn't survive. Elena cried for days. I should have worked faster, she sobbed. You saved 13 lives, I reminded her. 13 children who would have died are now going to grow up. That's not failure. That's a miracle. But what stunned everyone wasn't just the cure or the lives saved. It was what Elena did next. She announced she was retiring from active research. At 38 years old, at the peak of her career, she was walking away. Why? Reporters asked. You could win a Nobel Prize. Why stop now? Elena's answer shocked them all. Because I realized something, she said at a press conference, with me beside her. I spent 5 years in a laboratory, working 18 hours a day, sacrificing everything. Yes, I created a cure. Yes, I saved lives. But I also missed 5 years of my daughter's childhood. 5 years I can never get back. She looked at Maya and Sophie in the front row. When those men tried to kidnap Maya, when James took those bullets, I finally understood what matters most. It's not the cures or the awards. It's being present for the people you love. It's not missing bedtime stories because you're in a lab. She turned to me. James showed me that protecting the ones you love is the most important thing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be present for my daughter. I'm going to be there for every school play, every soccer game, every moment that matters. The room was silent. I'm founding the Walker Rodriguez Foundation for Rare Disease Research. It will be named after James, because without him, none of this would exist. The foundation will hire other scientists, fund their research. But I'm going to be a mother first and a scientist second. Because some things, once lost, can never be cured. The world was stunned. Here was one of the most brilliant scientists alive, choosing family over career. But for me, it made perfect sense. Because I had made the same choice 3 years ago, when Rachel died. 1 year after the shooting, Elena and I got married in a small ceremony in our backyard. Sophie and Maya were flower girls, wearing matching white dresses. During the ceremony, the minister asked the girls, "Do you accept this marriage? Do you want to become a family?" Sophie spoke first. Yes. Elena is my hero. She's smart and brave. And she makes my daddy smile again. Maya added, yes. Mr. James is my hero. He protected me. He's strong and brave. I want him to be my dad. There wasn't a dry eye in the crowd. Years passed. The girls grew up together as true sisters. Sophie became a doctor. Maya became a medical researcher. The Walker Rodriguez Foundation grew into one of the world's leading research centers. It funded cures for 12 rare diseases. It saved thousands of children. Elena kept her promise. She attended every school event, every soccer game, every important moment in our daughters' lives. I continued working at the Children's Hospital as head of security. Every child I saw was alive partly because Elena never gave up. On my 50th birthday, our daughter surprised me with a video. It showed hundreds of people, young adults who had been children when Elena's cure was released. One by one, they told their stories. I was 6 when I was diagnosed. Dr. Rodriguez's cure saved my life. Now I'm 23 and just graduated medical school. I was 8 when I got sick. I'm now 19 and studying to be a teacher. I was diagnosed at 7. I'm now 21 and just had my first baby. My daughter exists because your cure let me live. By the end, I was sobbing. Elena held me. Sophie and Maya sat beside me. Do you see now, Dad? Sophie asked gently. Do you understand what you did? There are over 2,000 people now, Maya added. 2,000 people who survived. All because you protected Mom that day. And it's not just those 2,000, Elena said. Some of them have children now. Your courage created ripples that will echo for generations. I looked at the faces on the screen. Young doctors, teachers, parents, artists. All living full lives because of a split-second decision I made 20 years ago. I was just scared, I whispered. I saw those men grabbing Maya, and I was so scared. But I ran anyway. That's what makes you a hero, Sophie said. Heroes aren't people without fear. They're people who act despite their fear. That night, after everyone went to bed, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all those lives, all those futures that almost didn't exist. I went to the window and looked out at the quiet street. Elena found me there. Can't sleep. I keep thinking about that day, I admitted. What if I had been 1 second slower? What if the bullet had hit differently? What if I had frozen instead of running? But you didn't, Elena said softly. You ran toward danger when everyone else ran away. That choice changed everything. That night, I stood on our back porch looking at the stars. Elena joined me. What are you thinking? She asked. About Rachel, I admitted. About how she died saving one person. About how I almost died saving one person. And how those single moments changed everything. That's the thing about courage, Elena said. It's not about saving everyone. It's about saving one person, right in front of you. Rachel saved that patient. You saved Maya. Those single acts rippled outward, touching thousands of lives. I miss her, I whispered. I still miss Rachel every day. I know, Elena said. I miss my husband too. But James, Rachel would be so proud of you. She would be proud of the father you've been. She would be proud of the family we've built. We stood in silence, holding each other. James, Elena said after a while. Can I tell you what really stunned everyone? What? It wasn't the cure. It wasn't the foundation. It wasn't even me choosing family over career. She turned to face me. What stunned everyone was watching an ordinary man become a hero. You weren't special forces or anything dramatic. You were just a single dad, working a security guard job, trying to raise your daughter. But when the moment came, you didn't hesitate. You ran toward the bullets. Any parent would have done the same, I protested. That's exactly the point, Elena said. You showed the world that heroism isn't about being special. It's about being present. It's about loving people enough to protect them, even when you're scared. That's what stunned everyone, the realization that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when it matters. I would do it again, I said quietly. Knowing all the pain, all the fear, I would still run toward those bullets. I know you would, Elena said, kissing me. That's why I love you. 20 years after that day, the city built a memorial garden where Elena and I got married. At the center was a fountain with an inscription. In memory of all the children saved by courage, science, and love. May we never forget that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. The dedication ceremony drew thousands. Sophie and Maya stood with us, both now mothers themselves. My granddaughter, little Rachel, named after her grandmother, was 5 years old. She held my hand. Grandpa, Rachel whispered. Why are all these people here? I knelt down. Because a long time ago, your grandpa did something brave. Were you scared? Very scared, I admitted. But you did it anyway? Yes. Because sometimes being brave means doing the right thing even when you're scared. Rachel hugged me tight. I want to be brave like you when I grow up. I held her close, tears in my eyes. This little girl existed because I had made one choice 20 years ago. Elena spoke at the ceremony. 20 years ago, I was a scientist obsessed with saving lives. I worked constantly, sacrificed everything. I thought that was noble. She looked at me. Then someone showed me a different kind of nobility. James wasn't trying to cure diseases or change the world. He was just trying to be a good father. But when the moment came, he chose courage over safety. He chose love over fear. The crowd was silent. That choice saved my daughter's life. It allowed me to complete my cure and save 2,000 children. But more importantly, it taught me what really matters. Not the work we do or the awards we win, but the love we show, the courage we demonstrate, the way we protect the vulnerable. After the ceremony, families approached us. They all had stories. A young woman holding a baby said, "Mr. Walker, I was in the first trial group. I was 8 and dying. Now I'm 28 and just had my first child. My son exists because you protected Dr. Rodriguez." Story after story. Life after life. As the sun set, our family gathered around the fountain. Elena and I, Sophie and her family, Maya and her family. 3 generations bound by courage and love. Little Rachel climbed into my lap. "I'm glad you were brave, Grandpa. Because if you weren't, I wouldn't be here." I held her tight. "That's the point, sweetheart. Every choice matters. Every act of courage creates ripples." As we walked home that evening, I felt complete. 20 years ago, I was a broken single father, barely holding on. Now I was a husband, a father, a grandfather, surrounded by love and legacy. The bullets had almost killed me. But they had also led me here. To this moment. To this family. To this life. Because that's what happens when you choose courage over fear, when you run toward danger to protect the innocent, when you keep your promises. You don't just save one life. You save thousands. You don't just change one moment. You change the world. One choice at a time. One act of courage at a time. That was what stunned everyone. Not that I took 2 bullets. But that those 2 bullets created ripples of hope that would echo through generations. That one scared security guard's choice to protect a child led to cures, foundations, saved lives, new families, and a future full of possibilities. That ordinary people can become heroes simply by choosing love over fear. That was the real miracle. Not the bullets or the cure or the fame. But the choice. And the endless ripples that choice created.